I found a quote. I didn't end up writing. Did I tell you I'm NaNoWriMoing the descriptions of the elementals?
Yes.
Yes. I found a quote for gadolinium finally because it's been bugging me. I was up against this wall. Like, infiltrate is not a concept that lends itself to a lot of quotes. And so I was doing online searches, and most quotes about infiltrating or spying are like Red Scare kind of quotes. And I'm like, that's not what I'm after. But I was watching MST. I wrote it down, but it's upstairs. It's something like, marvel at how you can't see him at all. And I was like, that.
Sounds pretty MST-ish.
Exactly. And I've only got one MST quote so far on the roster for molybdenum. I have
So I was on my way home today, and the song came on the radio. It's the Disturbia song.
Oh yeah.
And every time I either hear that song or see your shower curtain that says terbium right at eye level, I think of the other one.
All of them that are 4 syllables long put the Age of Aquarius in my head. This is the dawning of the age of dysprosium, age of dysprosium. And then I have to hum it all day.
Oh man, I almost what did I was setting up a password for something and I almost made it like derived from song lyrics, and then I was like, I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head every time I log in. Maybe let's not do that.
Never do that. Oh goodness. Yeah. There was some other song that was getting I was getting Cosmo Sheldrake songs stuck in my head for the past week.
I don't know who that is.
He writes really good songs that are kind of surrealist, and when you look up the lyrics, because you can't understand a word he's saying, he's referencing all of the surrealist fantasy writers of our childhood. So there's like, he brings up the Slithy Toves and I can't even remember what else. What was that? The Sand Fairy, I think, is referenced in one of them. Whatever. Doesn't matter, because I get 2 or 3 lines stuck in my head and they stay there for days, and I never bother to get around to learning the rest of it, and then I'm stuck again.
If I get something stuck in my head for more than about a day, I can't listen to the song anymore.
That sucks.
It's only, it'll take a few years. Like when I had the flu, like the actual flu, it was like one of the sickest I've ever been. I had that Bastille song stuck in my head, the like Pompeii song.
I don't know this one.
And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? You know that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that stuck in my head the entire time I had the flu, and I couldn't listen to it for like a decade.
When I was in hospital after my surgery, there was the day that they released me. It was who wrote it? Halsey Castle. I'm headed straight for the castle. They're gonna make me their queen.
Oh yeah,
that's get flagged for copyright on this one.
We're under 10 seconds. We're fine. Also, like, we get flagged for copyright on anything. It's
we are reading a book. Yeah, but
allegedly,
but that one has never bothered me since, because that was like the first day I'd been pain-free in quite some time. So to have that song kind of bumping against the windows in my head like a fly buzzing was like the least of my worries. But it still kind of takes me back there. If I hear the song, I'm like, that was a day when I felt kind of okay with the universe, and this is the theme song for that now.
Yeah. I can't say that. I can't say the same. I usually have songs stuck in my head while I feel shitty, and then as soon as I start to feel better, they like come out.
I know that I can't read. There's a Georgette Hare book that I was halfway through when I was sick with the flu, and I fell asleep and dreamed that the rest of the book was just awful, like horrible, cruel. He cheated on her and left her sobbing, and like it was a flu dream. And I never could read the rest of the book because I had seen them so viscerally in those moments that I was like, nope, it's dead to me now.
There's one of the what's her name? It was a book that you had when you lived on Poets Row, and it was like urban fantasy.
Mercedes Lackey?
Not Mercedes Lackey, the Canadian lady. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google it.
Tanya Huff?
I think so. I think it was a Tanya Huff book. Let me see.
The only Tanya Huff I've ever owned is Firestone.
Okay, not Tanya Huff then. You had two by the same author, and one was about emotional vampires, and the other one was about elves.
Feel like those were Mercedes Lackey. Summoned or Night of Ghosts and Shadows and Summoned Attorney.
Maybe I didn't think they were
Mercedes Lackey and Ellen Guan, I think.
Let me see.
Sorry about the sniffing. It's allergy season.
Fine. Maybe. There's no summary.
Energy vampires, like the one musician takes some pills and he can't figure out how to. Okay, I remember those stories. I thought those were those stories, but those might not be those stories. In fact, I don't think they are, because Night of Ghosts and Shadows is about a bard accidentally summoning like elves from the Sealy Court and shit.
Right. Okay, but Children of the Night was the name of the one about the musician, and that was Mercedes Lackey. So I think the other one must be Night of Ghosts and Shadows, because I remember I stopped. This is such a digression, my God. I stopped reading it right at the dark moment of the story when like the bard was trying to save everyone with music, and then I fell asleep and I had nightmares because I had also read Children of the Night the same day. And so I never was able to finish Night of Ghosts and Shadows.
Oh my God, we are so enjoying what we do in the shadows. Speaking of psychic vampires. I hear Colin Robinson was supposed to be a throwaway joke, and he was just so awesome they had to keep going.
Someone told me he actually becomes like terrifying later on.
In one episode, yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this now, because like the last 5 times I've talked to you, you've been like, what we do in the shadows. Plus it's all over Tumblr.
Right? It would be. It's good. It deserves it. And I keep thinking for some reason that you're the one who told me to watch it. Thank you, by the way, for Little Big, because speaking of bizarre dream sequences, earlier this evening, Jason and Blue were hypno dancing at each other, and Emily walked through like, what in the fuck?
Oh, that makes me so happy. I was just shocked I didn't predict this happening. Were they doing the noises?
Yeah.
Oh, that delights me.
Yeah. So yeah, what we do in the shadows is the kind of thing that you would totally have introduced me to. So that's why I keep forgetting that you haven't seen it yet.
I feel like I've seen. Okay, I don't know if I've seen like 10 minutes of it, or if I've just seen a lot of Tumblr posts.
You put 10 minutes worth of Tumblr posts?
Way more than 10 minutes worth of Tumblr posts. Yeah. There's a lot of shows where it's like, well, I haven't actually watched it, but I've seen it via Tumblr.
I could quote Monty Python and the Holy Grail before I'd ever seen it. Like all the way through, because it was like a secondary language my friends spoke.
I've still only seen Once More with Feeling once, but I know all the songs. I hadn't seen it until like 2 years ago also. It was really recent.
That's funny. I had the first time I saw did I first see Dr. Horrible with you?
No, because the first time I watched it, I had just had my wisdom teeth out and I was high on painkillers. And that was not an ideal way to experience Dr. Horrible.
So when I first watched Dr. Horrible, it was with a group of friends who had seen Firefly and I hadn't. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't gotten around to it. People said Space Cowboys, and I said that sounds boring, so I didn't bother. But when when Captain Hammer jumps on the van, the entire room went, "Oh my god, it is!" And I was like, "Oh, oh wow, it's him." And much later, when I finally did watch Firefly and love it, I was like, "Oh, okay." Clicked into place now.
I saw a skit the other day that was like, two kind of nerdy guys, and one of them jumps into a pool, and then he comes out and he's like a model. And the other guy's like, "What the hell? Have you seen that?"
Yes.
And then they combine their powers and turn into Nathan Fillion.
Yes. Oh, that will never get old. Did you ever watch Neil's Puppet Dreams?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know where we were in the book now that it's 7:36 and time's a flying?
We were somewhere past the part where Aragorn decides, so the king and all of the Rohirrim left, and Aragorn was eating breakfast while talking about what a hurry he was in to leave.
Ah, yes.
And also being a broody McBroody pants.
Shit, broody pants. Master of Rohan. So did you are grieved, daughter. You know the journey is over, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Jesus, I thought we were much further than this. Oh, man.
This is what happens when we only read for a cumulative 5 minutes of each episode, which probably makes us more safe from copyright claims, but it is not, not a speedy process.
Effective, but not efficient.
That's probably going on my LinkedIn.
I have, out of the next, so I was thinking, right, I'm going to do 30 some odd of the things. Probably not anymore, like 29 at this point, but still most of them, this chunk doesn't have quotes yet. And I'm like, I'm going to send you the list. And if you can think of anything for focus, magnify, specificity, incisiveness, whatever, you could like just quote hunt with me, because I'm a little flailing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The passing of the Grey Company.
Yeah, we're somewhere in that chapter.
Wait, there will come no dawn. Yes. The father you shall be to me. Goodbye. Yet if he knew, he would still go on. I have looked at the stone of Orthanc. You've done what?
Mm-hmm.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yep. He beheld me. The right cannot be doubted. The strength was enough barely. Is that where we were?
That's approximately where we were.
He drew a deep breath. It was a bitter struggle, and the weariness is slow to pass. I spoke no word to him, and in the end I wrenched the stone to my own will. That alone he will find hard to endure. our dick measuring contest.
I always win, for I have Isildur's sword. If you know what I'm saying.
And he beheld me. Yes, Master Gimli. I'm Tim Curry now. Yeah.
Yes, Master Gimli.
He saw me, but in other guise than you see me here. If that will aid him, then I have done ill. But I do not think so. To know that I lived and walked the earth was a blow to his heart, I deem. I'm going to bring deem back as a verb that I use, like, on the reg. For he knew it not till now. The eyes in Orthanc did not see through the armour of Theoden, but Sauron has not forgotten Isildur and the sword of Elendil. Now, in the very hour of his great designs, the heir of Isildur and the sword are revealed, for I showed the blade reforged to him. He is not so mighty yet that he is above fear. Nay, doubt ever gnaws him. But he wields great dominion none the less, said Gimli, and now he will strike more swiftly. The hasty stroke goes oft astray, said Aragorn.
If you know what I'm saying.
Get your minds out of the gutter! Nerdy Crafter shout out.
Yes.
Yeah. We must press our enemy.
I feel like we read this last time and we did the same exact thing.
And no longer wait upon him for the move. See, my friends, when I had mastered the stone, I learned many things. A grave peril I saw coming, unlooked for upon Gondor from the south, that will draw off great strength from the defense of Minas Tirith. If it is not countered swiftly, I deem that the city will be lost ere 10 days be gone. Then lost it must be, said Gimli. For what help is there to send thither, and how could it come there in time? I have no help to send, therefore I must go myself.
We definitely read that part because we also did that. If you want something done, if you want a city saved, you got to save it yourself.
Roll up your sleeves and hoe in, I deem.
I'm sorry?
But there is only one way through the mountains that will bring me to the coastlands before all is lost. That is the paths of the dead. The paths of the dead, said Gimli. It is a foul name, and little to the liking of the men of Rohan, as I saw. Can the living use such a road and not perish? And even if you pass that way, what will so few avail to counter the strokes of Mordor?
It's not the size that counts.
It's the strokes.
Well, if we don't get copyright claimed, we'll be struck for inappropriate content.
The living have never used that road since the coming of the Rohirrim, said Aragorn, for it is closed to them. But in this dark hour, the heir of Isildur may use it, if he dare. Listen. We were listening, dude.
We have to listen because you won't stop talking.
This is the word that the sons of Elrond bring to me from their father in Rivendell, wisest in lore. Bid Aragorn remember the words of the seer and the paths of the dead. And what may be the words of the seer? Said Legolas. Thus spoke Malbeth the seer in the days of Arvedui, last king at Fornost, said Aragorn. Over the land there lies a long shadow, westward reaching wings of darkness, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, I read that last time and I hated it.
Yeah, from the north shall he come, need shall drive him, he shall pass the door to the paths of the dead. Dark ways, doubtless, said Gimli, but no darker than these staves are to me. If you would understand them better, then I bid you come with me, said Aragorn, for that way I now shall take. But I do not go gladly, Only need drives me. Therefore, only of your free will would I have you come, for you will find both toil and great fear, and maybe worse. He sells it.
Also, what are they going to do if they say no? Like, they're stuck in the middle of Rohan and everybody else left.
Everybody's gone. Well, they're just going to sit in Helm's Deep and wait to see who wins. And eat good food and explore the glittering caves, I guess. I don't know. But
Well,
no.
in that case, they're idiots for going.
The women and
Later,
children
bro.
have stayed behind. Ooh.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Later, bro. Don't get murked. Bye. Good luck with the dead and stuff.
Good luck with the dead. Bring out your dead. I will go with you, even on the paths of the dead, and to whatever end they may lead, said Gimli. I also will come, said Legolas, for I do not fear the dead.
Yeah. You've never met any dead, buddy. You're an elf.
That's true. I hope that the forgotten people will not have forgotten how to fight, said Gimli, but otherwise I see not why we should trouble them. That we shall know if ever we come to Erech, said Aragorn. Erech.
I mean, no matter how you say it, it sounds terrible. So Erech, I guess.
Erech.
Just sounds like, do you want such and such? Ugh.
The stone of...
What?
You will find the Grail at the stone of...
I wouldn't be surprised if that was legitimately a reference to this.
I would dig it. It was a lot fresher then. But the oath that they broke was to fight against Sauron, and they must fight therefore if they are to fulfill it. For at Erech there stands yet a black stone that was brought, it was said, from Númenor by Isildur, and it was set upon the hill, and upon it the king of the mountains swore allegiance to him in the beginning of the realm of Gondor. But when Sauron returned and grew in might again, Isildur summoned the men of the mountains to fulfill their oath, and they would not, for they had worshipped Sauron in the dark years. Then Isildur said to their king, Thou shalt be the last king, and if the West prove mightier than thy black master, this curse I lay upon thee and thy folk, to rest never until your oath is fulfilled. For this war will last through years uncounted, and you shall be summoned once again ere the end. And they fled before the wrath of Isildur, and did not dare to go forth to war on Sauron's part. And they hid themselves in secret places in the mountains, and had no dealings with other men, but slowly dwindled in the barren hills. And the terror of the sleepless dead lies about the hill of Erech and all places where that people lingered. But that way I must go, since there are none living to help me. He stood up. Come, he cried, and drew his sword, and it flashed in the twilit hall of the burg. To the stone of Erech! I see the paths of the dead.
It doesn't get less silly.
Come with me who will. Legolas and Gimli made no answer, but they rose and followed Aragorn from the hall. On the green there waited, still and silent, the hooded rangers. Legolas and Gimli mounted. Aragorn sprang upon Rohirrim. I love the word sprang. He uses it all the time, and it makes me think, boing. Boing. And the grass is springing up out of the ground, and the sun sprang into the sky, and I'm like, everything's so enthusiastic here.
It just makes me think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they look into Toontown and everything's like, boing, 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 boing.
Then Halbarad lifted a great horn, and the blast of it echoed in Helm's Deep. And with that, like thunder, while all the men that were left on the dike or burg stared in amaze. And I'm sorry, but I think that was all stuff that you read last week.
No, I stopped at the seer poem because I read it and then I was like, I hate this, and then we stopped.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better. I only overlapped you by a page instead of 3.
Normally a page is about all we get through, so we're doing pretty well.
We're doing great! And while Theoden went by slow paths in the hills, the grey company passed swiftly over the plain, and on the next day in the afternoon they came to Edoras. There they halted only briefly ere they passed up the valley, and so came to Dunharrow as darkness fell. The Lady Eowyn greeted them and was glad of their coming, for no mightier men had she seen than the Dunedain and the fair sons of Elrond. But
okay, Eowyn, cool it with the thirst.
She might need a calendar. 12 months of the Dunedain.
We all might need a 12 months of the Dunedain calendar. Strategically placed swords.
This one's currying his horse while giving you the side eye.
This one's, I was going to say cleaning his chainmail, but you wouldn't want to put chainmail on your lap with no pants on. It's a bad time.
Cleaning his sword.
That's 2 sword-related ones. What else?
Spear?
What?
Shield. Scrubbing the shield.
Scrubbing the shield.
Yeah.
One of them's wearing only his cloak with the star on the left shoulder.
Oh, yep, gotta have the star on the left shoulder. What else did Dunedain do? Oh, blowing a horn. Wrapped in the flag of Gondor that they brought with them.
Or no, not wrapped in it, but it's just flowing across the frame.
Yep. Let it be written and let it be done.
Look, I'm just saying solstice is coming up.
Right. But on Aragorn most of all her eyes rested, and when they sat at supper with her, they talked together, and she heard of all that had passed since Theoden rode away, concerning which only hasty tidings had yet reached her. When she heard of the battle in Helm's Deep, and the great slaughter of their foes, and of the charge of Theoden and his knights, then her eyes shone. Ah, slaughter!
Wow! Death! I love death!
Were their limbs severed?
But would you say that the field was red the next morning, where the dew fell?
Oh.
I like how we're making Eowyn a psychopath now. That's probably not very nice of us.
Yeah, no, and she's always more of a tomboy anyway, so she's more like, "Rah! I want to stab a bitch!"
Look, who among us is not occasionally like, I want to stab a bitch?
It's true. Yeah, the way politics have been going lately, if I had the notebook from Death Note, there would be a culling. And I'm a very gentle person. And I hate having those feelings. But man, there would be such a culling. Like, no, don't need that one anymore. Really don't need that one. Even his kids don't like him. Oh, off he goes. Anyway, so yeah, we're all sociopaths, I guess, when you lift the rock. But at last she said, "Lords, you are weary and shall now go to your beds with such ease as can be contrived in haste. But tomorrow fairer housing shall be found for you." But Aragorn said,
"If you know what I'm saying."
But Aragorn said, "Nay, lady, be not troubled for us. If we may lie here tonight and break our fast tomorrow, it will be enough. For I ride on an errand most urgent, and with the first light of morning we must go." She smiled on him and said, "Then it was kindly done, lord, to ride so many miles out of your way to bring tidings to Eowyn and to speak with her in her exile." "Indeed, no man would count such a journey wasted," said Aragorn. Smooth.
My lady.
Lady. "And yet, lady, I could not have come hither if it were not that the road which I must take leads me to Dunharrow." And she answered as one that likes not what is said, "Then, lord, you are astray, for out of Harrowdale no road runs east or south, and you had best return as you came." "Nay, lady," said he, "I am not astray, for I walked in this land ere you were born to grace it. I'm old. There is a road out of this valley, and that road I shall take. Tomorrow I shall ride by the paths of the dead." Then she stared at him as one that is stricken, and her face blanched, and for long she spoke no more, while all sat silent. "But Aragorn," she said at last, "is it then your errand to seek death? For that is all you will find on that road. They do not suffer the living to pass. I had 7 siblings. They all stared at each other when they got drunk and never saw them again." Ah. "They may suffer me to pass," said Aragorn. "The rest of us do."
Unfortunately.
"But at the least I will adventure it. No other road will serve." "But this is madness," she said. "For here are men of renown and prowess whom you should not take into the shadows, but should lead to war, where men are needed. I beg you to remain and ride with my brother, for then all our hearts will be gladdened, and our hope be the brighter." "It is not madness, lady," he answered, "for I go on a path appointed. But those who follow me do so of their own free will, and if they wish now to remain and ride with the Rohirrim, they may do so." Oh, throw your buddies under the bus. Like, I'm not leaving on purpose. They are.
Right.
"But I shall take the paths of the dead, alone, if needs be." Then they said no more, and they ate in silence. Awkward meal from that point forward.
So awkward. I was just thinking that. Like,
But her eyes were ever upon Aragorn, and the others saw that she was in great torment of mind.
not less awkward.
No. Like, badass woman sitting there going,
Buttering her roll. Yeah, I think we nailed it.
"You guys don't look alike, but when you angrily eat an imaginary roll, I really see it." At length they arose and took their leave of the lady, and thanked her for her care, and went to their rest. But as Aragorn came to the booth where he was to lodge with Legolas and Gimli, and his companions had gone in, there came the Lady Eowyn after him, and called to him. He turned and saw her as a glimmer in the night, for she was clad in nothing. No. Clad in white. Sorry, people.
I was like, I don't remember this part of the book.
But her eyes were on fire. Aragorn.
Also, not less awkward. She's just standing there in a white dress, like.
"Aragorn," she said, "why will you go on this deadly road?" "Because I must," he said. Only so can I see any hope of doing my part in the war against Sauron. I do not choose paths of peril, Eowyn. Were I to
They
go where
choose
my
me.
They choose me because I'm me.
I didn't land on the path of the dead. The path of the dead landed on me.
Were I to go where my heart dwells, far in the north I would now be, wandering in the fair valley of Rivendell, where my girlfriend is.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but girlfriend.
For a while she was silent, as if pondering what this may mean. Smart lady. Then suddenly she laid her hand on his arm. You're a star, Lord. Right. But she's there and you're here. No, you are a stern lord and resolute, she said, and thus do men win renown. She paused. Lord, she said, if you must go, then let me ride in your following. For I am weary of skulking in the hills and wish to face peril and battle. Your duty is with your people, he answered. Too often have I heard of duty, she cried. But am I not of the house of Eorl, a shield maiden and not a dry nurse? I have waited on faltering feet long enough. Since they falter no longer, it seems, may I not now spend my life as I will? Few may do that with honor, he answered. But as for you, lady, did you not accept the charge to govern the people until their lord's return? If you had not been chosen, then some marshal or captain would have been set in the same place, and he could not ride away from his charge, were he weary of it or no. Shall I always be chosen? She said bitterly. Shall I always be left behind when the riders depart to mind the house while they win renown, to find food and beds when they return?
I mean, that's actually pretty important, so probably.
Right? A time may come soon, said he, when none will return. Then there will be need of valor without renown, for none shall remember the deeds that are done in the last defense of your homes. Yet the deeds will not be less valiant because they are unpraised. And she answered, all your words are but to say, you are a woman, and your part is in the house. But when the men have died in battle and honor, you have leave to be burned in the house, for the men will need it no more. But I am of the house of Eorl, and not a serving woman. I can ride and wield a blade, and I do not fear either pain or death. What do you fear, lady? He asked. A cage, she said, to stay behind bars until use and old age accept them, and all chance of doing great deeds is gone beyond recall or desire. And yet you counseled me not to adventure on the road that I had chosen because it is perilous. So may one counsel another, she said. Yet I do not bid you flee from peril, but to ride to battle where your sword may win renown and victory. That's like the 8th time she's mentioned renown. She's
Yeah.
in her bonnet about renown.
She really wants to be a Rohirrim influencer.
Yeah. And victory. I would not see a thing that is high and excellent cast away needlessly. Nor would I, he said. Therefore I say to you, lady, stay. For you have no errand to the south. Neither have those others who go with thee. They go only because they would not be parted from thee, because they love thee. Then she turned and vanished into the night. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Sorry I read late, but that means we're actually at a page break.
Well, that might make it easier to remember where we were.
A little bit. I've marked it with a thing.
All right. Well, I'm going to go eat some dinner.
Excellent. And I will go finish my eggnog and steal the television from the children.
Excellent.
Yes. I love you.
I love you too. I'll see you next
week. Feeling well enough to read again.
Me too.
And yeah. I'll see if I can find a way to make the whole base of the Gallium happen again. without breaking off the head and the arms multiple times.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Cuidado.
Llamas.
Love you all.
Love you too.